If it wasn't for the CIFT, Center for Innovative Food Technology, we wouldn't have a clue where to start doing this. There's a lot more involved to starting a company like this than just sitting at home making salsa up and trying to sell it, you know, and they've helped tremendously. And the agricultural incubator here, they supply the equipment and the licensing, and, you know, it's a co-op deal. So if it wasn't for those two places, we wouldn't even be here right now. It's amazing the help they give you. It's gone really good for us so far.
Dennis Dickey and his partner Sarah Hafner found out the hard way that there's a lot more to launching a successful food business than just having a great recipe. But working with the Center for Innovative Food Technology, or CIFT's Northwest Ohio Cooperative Kitchen, made learning the hard way quite a bit easier.
Sarah, what you're going to do is, this is batch number 3, your pH.
A lot of people that have a product idea struggle with where to start. They just know how to make the product at their home, in their kitchen, and they have no idea what's the next step and where do I need to go. And there's much more involved with a food product than there is with many other businesses. There are a number of regulations involved with the food processing industry, everything from just how you properly handle product from the time you buy it all the way in time until you process it, making sure the temperature is correct before you package something.
It's good.
All the way to how your label is designed and formatted and laid out. It needs to have certain elements included in every case. There's very strict guidelines that need to be followed, and that's just not intuitive in many cases.
You go to a food scientist and he'll recommend how to make your salsa, how to get the most shelf life out of it, what your pH levels are supposed to be. And that's a big thing you never think of when you're making something at home. There's a lot of trial and error.
But trial and error can be an expensive process, and that's not even counting other startup costs.
If you look at just that room, and it doesn't include the paint on the walls or the ceilings or everything, you're looking at about $90-some thousand. So if someone, a business would go and try to invest that's going to be just their initial cost. That's not going to be the cost for reconstructing the building, putting the drains in, making sure that, you know, everything's adequate, the furnaces, the water, anything. So for an entrepreneur to start out in our facility, and the fee that we charge is a small amount compared to what they would go and do their own building. We're hoping at some point that, yes, they can afford to do that. But I think we're the first step. Maybe a co-packer would be the second step, and then after that point, if they're successful enough, they can start looking into renovating their own building.
The Northwest Ohio Cooperative Kitchen helps entrepreneurs at the far end of the food cycle, processing. But that's just one of CIFT's many programs. Another is designed to show producers at the very beginning of the food cycle how to get the most cash for their crop.
The Bittersweet Farms Hoop House demonstration is very exciting in the fact that it really ties everything we do nicely together. So what we're trying to do there is demonstrate that you can operate a facility year-round, no energy inputs, there's nothing that's costing you anything there, and it's a fairly inexpensive structure. They can be done in any size, any fashion, and with minimal amount of inputs. So these are very conducive to being in a lot of places that would never have been considered for food production before.
But the Hoop House study is about more than just a cheaper greenhouse. The study will also demonstrate how much more money farmers can expect to make if they use the Hoop House's controllable climate to grow crops ahead of the season.
Right now we've got things growing and we intend to harvest in 2 weeks. But then we are only going to have a week downtime before we go in with the next planting cycle. And then once that's harvest or time to harvest, we want to continue to move that product out and advance another product in. And that's the only way we're going to be able to have that impact on the market early, which is what we want to do.
This isn't traditional at all. In fact, traditionally you'd be harvesting these in the fall and you'd be done. Currently we actually planted these in the fall and we're actually raising them right throughout the winter season here when there's snow on the ground, and we're still inside growing right now. We'll be harvesting actually when there's snow on the ground still. Hoop houses are very new and innovative. They have been around for a few years and have been kind of more experimental. A lot of people have used hoop houses previous to get a jump start on plants for the summertime. So they would start plants, in April, and then in a greenhouse type structure like this, just to get a jump on the early season of summer. But to plant and grow vegetables year round, not too many people are doing it. It's not very widespread, but it's a practice that we're trying to experiment and say, hey, it is profitable. You already have the structure that you're using. Why not use it the rest of the year?
The idea is to be always beating other producers to market, thus always being able to charge a premium, which in today's competitive agriculture market can be the difference between profitability and failure for a small farmer.
Right now we're trying to determine what kind of price points to place on the products that are growing now, and we're looking at probably close to $1 to $1.50 more per pound for some of the product.
Besides research and funding, another benefit CIFT offers is the ability to bring such diverse projects together so that even projects as different as a hoop house and a co-op kitchen can feed each other.
Down the road, we'd like to be able to even take it one step further and take some of the products that are grown in the hoop house and make a value-added product out of it in the kitchen. So it would be growing your own ingredients potentially for another product. So it brings the entire circle of the food chain into one connection. Everything kind of comes all together in that fashion.
And in the end, its ability to make those connections may be the center's biggest innovation of all.
There's a lot of different directions we go in. The food chain is so diverse and it poses so many opportunities that it really makes it exciting to see all of them interact, which is where we're very, very fortunate, where we're not just focused on one area, that we can pick an area and see if there's anything we can come up with.